there's a quote from Thomas Jefferson that I've actually never heard of that appears in your book, where he talks about the possibility that his slaves could justifiably turn against him. And he is deeply worried about this. And you see other members of that political community also being worried about the possibility of enslaved persons rebelling. And it's not an idle fear. This is the age of revolution. Not only have the American colonists rebelled against the British, the French are about to overthrow their monarch in a year or two, but closer to home, the Caribbean nation of Haiti has just experienced a massive overthrow of not only the institution of chattel slavery, but the government itself by enslaved persons. They have taken over the government of Haiti and they've made it their own. And this looms large in the history of the Second Amendment. And we've never heard of this either. So can you make the connections between these external events and what happened here in the United States?
Oh, absolutely. And so here, this is the age of revolution. And so one of the things that happens is this fear that these revolutionary ideas will carry forward to Black people, that Black people will think that somehow this idea of self-determination and self-government, this idea about being able to rule yourself, that Black people will believe that that applies to them. And Haiti verifies this in ways that just sends shockwaves through the United States. Just shockwaves. This is where you get Thomas Jefferson going, oh my God, if this thing gets unleashed, we have to fear it. We must fear it. And the fear that his own enslaved people will justifiably rise up against him. And you see this coming through in terms of the laws, so that in Baltimore, as you have slave owners fleeing Haiti with their enslaved, when they get to Baltimore, Baltimore opens up the public armory to white citizens so that they can protect themselves against these Haitian enslaved people coming into Baltimore. You have in South Carolina actually banning the enslaved from Haiti from being able to come into South Carolina. And you have Virginia. Virginia is absolutely fearful about Haiti. And when they're coming, they're bringing too many of them here. There's too many of them here. And our enslaved folk are learning to be disrespectful. They're getting these airs about them. We've got to protect ourselves. And you have Gabriel's revolt. I'm jumping ahead. One of the things that you have happening in the United States shortly after the Haitian Revolution begins is you have the Uniform Militia Act of 1792. And that says that every white man between the ages of 18 and 45 has to be part of the militia and has to have a gun. So you're seeing the definition of citizenship and the responsibilities of citizenship wrapped up in the role of the militia, gun ownership, and whiteness. And you have James Madison writing in a letter going, "Whoo, did you see that mess in Haiti? Oh, by the way, our Militia Act will be passing soon." So, I don't know whether it was a subconsciousness speaking or whatever, but to connect Haiti and our Militia Act will be passing soon. That is absolutely essential. How do we keep these enslaved folks down? How do we stop the revolutionary ideas from seeping into our enslaved population where they're going to rise up and think that they could be free too? And then we have Gabriel's revolt in 1800 in Virginia. And that is a multi-state a multi-city, multi-county planned revolt that they find out about on the day it was supposed to happen. And Governor James Monroe is just shook. He is just trembling as he's writing to Thomas Jefferson. "I just found out about this. Oh, we would have been in blood if this thing had really gone off." And they called out the state militia, the various militias, to go and round up and hunt down Gabriel and his followers. And then you have mass public hangings as a way to send the signal. This is what happens to Black people who believe in freedom.
Also, one of the biggest ones, bang, bang, was influenced by the Haitian Revolution was the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment was signed in existence 4 months after the Haitian Revolution. Them white folks was sitting around and say, so we got the First Amendment, freedom of speech and all that. What else we got? They just had a rebellion in Haiti, so we all need guns. No, black people can't have guns, but we all need guns.